Y'all know that. Let's not play. All right, cool. Now, don't be hasty to credit them because they got some big feet. Don't look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's Don't do none of that. No, don't do none of that. All right? Right, it could be a serial killer with big feet. Type of thing. Oh, you got this one? I see you. I'm hitting this one over here. Boom, boom, boom. Look at all these numbers I got. All these IG files. Check these DMs right here. That's what we talk about. But this is what God says about that. Read that. 1 Corinthians 7 and 2.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
So God is saying if you want to avoid fornication, so this is the key. This is how you avoid it. Now, look, real quick. What's your name again one more time? Nelson. What's your name, bro?
Show you that's wrong.
All right, Evan, and your name?
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask y'all real quick. What's your names? What's your name?
I'm Adriana.
Adriana. Kayla. All right, all four of y'all listen real quick. Read that again.
1 Corinthians 7 and verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
So it's saying. All right, so this is saying to avoid fornication. In other words, in order to avoid sleeping with multiple people, what you got to do? Read that.
Let every man have his own wife.
So God said, let every man have his own what? What did it say? His own wife. With an S? Or was there no S in there? There was no S. That means it's just one. Just one. So you, okay, language arts. So when it says wife, that means one woman. So let me ask y'all something real quick. Because I already heard the conversation you had going on. What about you? You dealing with somebody right now? You don't got a boyfriend, nothing like that? You never had one in your life? Okay then. What about you?
Celibate.
You celibate? Okay. You celibate too? Okay. Why you celibate?
I'm celibate because I know it's wrong to have sex and not be married. And I know that's an abomination. And I'm trying to get right with Christ and right with God. And sex isn't even.
Okay, what about you? Why you say that?
Men just want to play you for one thing that you have, and then they just want to know. So I just make it by myself.
Okay, because men like to play with it and just basically play with your feelings and all that. Okay, so you want to wait till you get married. Okay. Now you said something. You said men like to kind of just play with your feelings and whatnot. They just there for one thing. Okay, so give me an example. What you talking about? Because what is the example? So I can understand what you mean.
Like my mom and my stepdad fight with her for her money, and he only wanted one thing, and then he left.
Okay.
Like he was on drugs and shit. He was on wrong.
Okay, and he was only with your mom for what? Sex? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. All right, so let's talk about all that. So, dealing with marriage, you said they're only there for one thing. So, before you get married, the smart thing to do is this. Give me Sirach 6. This is what God said, because he gives us the blueprint for everything, for all of life. He tells us exactly how to get there. He lets you know first. And let me ask you a question, by the way. You think that our people should be married, or do you think it's a good thing for us just to have single-parent households in our community? Marriage is better, right? Okay, so shouldn't the goal to be married? That should be our ultimate goal when it comes to dealing with each other in our communities, right? Get married. All right. So
Let's hear that.
you understand that, right? I want to make sure y'all get it. Because guess what? Who's going to start the marriage? It's going to be the men.
All right, there you go.
Y'all the ones that's going to be taking them and bringing them into your household.
They gotta do better. Come
Exactly. So we got to do better. It starts with us. So on that note, let's talk about how do we do this. I want y'all to pay attention real quick because this is the blueprint to marriage. Read that. Sirach 6 and 7.
It's the book of Sirach chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend.
Now hold up. Peep this. God said if you will get a friend. What a lot of married people say? This is my best friend. We know each other for years, right? God's letting you know if it's a friend, if it's a spouse, your husband, or your wife. If you're going to get a friend, what you got to do?
If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
So God said you got to prove him first. Or for the men, you got to prove her first. You can't just bring any kind of woman in your house because you're going to be paying her bills, right? You're going to be supplying for her lifestyle, right? You can't just have any other man just sliding up in you. You don't know where they been. You don't know who they messing with. They could be in the gangs. They could be doing all type of street business. Right. And now you affiliated. Right. So you got to prove them first. Now, on that note, proving them first. Read them.
And be not hasty to credit him.
Don't be hasty to credit them. So let's get some examples.
Big feet.
Big feet. You know what I'm saying? What sisters look for in dudes?
Nice
let me ask y'all. What do you think a woman looks for physically in a man that gets them attracted? The first thing. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you a hint. They look for 6 feet. Why they do that? You tell me. Why? You laughing? Why they do that? Keep it 100. Just don't even lie.
Well, me personally,
Yeah.
I don't look for like, but I do like being, like you gotta be a little taller, like.
All right, you look like you about to say something wise. Tell me. You don't know? Okay. They look for it because of the size of the rod. That's what it is.
Right.
With that height, that attraction is there because of that. Y'all know that. Let's not play. All right, cool. Now, don't be hasty to credit them because they got some big feet. Don't look at that and be like, oh, yeah, that's, Don't do none of that. No, don't do none of that.
It could be a serial killer with big feet.
Right, it could be a serial killer with big feet.
If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him.
Why? Why did God say be not hasty to credit him? What y'all think? What do you think could happen if you're quick
Man, watch that there.
to just assume that someone is meant for you?
You miss certain signs.
You, what they call that? Red flags. There you go. Boom. So you see, that's the importance of proving them. That's the importance of being not quick to credit them. Don't be quick to give them that benefit of the doubt. Read.
Okay. Verse 8. Verse 9. Verse 8. For some man is a friend for his own occasion.
Now hold up. About not being hasty to credit them. Read that again.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion.
Some people are just going to be your friend for an occasion. Meaning that there's something they want. All right? So, thinking about proving them, some people are only going to be there for what? What's the common thing that a dude might be a friend for? Okay, boom. That's the biggest thing. That's the only reason most dudes even talk to females. They ain't bringing them to the crib, playing Madden with them. You're not hitting the court with them. You're not going boxing and hitting the weight room with them. What you doing with them? Why you talk to women? We know it. Keep it 100. That's what it's for. It's for sex. So, read that again.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
But let something happen to you. Let you need some help. That same dude that was your friend, oh, we could be cool. We could just talk. All that. Y'all already, you see, you feel me? Let that happen. God says, and matter of fact, read that again, one more time.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
What if you get injured and you end up in the hospital? What if for some reason one of y'all gets a drug addiction? What if someone get raped? Guess what? He ain't gonna be there for you, or she ain't gonna be there for you, because guess what? You're hasty to credit them. So you gotta prove it. You gotta ask some very important questions. Stuff like, what do you look for in life? Or do you really want to be married, or are you just telling me that because you know my goal is to be married? You gotta understand that kind of stuff. What is your normal daily routine consist of? Do you have a job, or are you in the streets hustling? You follow me? Do you have a life insurance, or you just carry that piece on you just in case someone stepped to you? There's a difference. These are things you gotta think about, because you could end up with the wrong one for not asking the right questions. You gotta prove them. Now read.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. And there is a friend who being turned to enmity,
And there's a friend who being turned to enmity, read.
and strife will discover thy reproach.
And there's also that one, they're turned to enemy and strife, meaning for some reason, maybe y'all had an argument. Now they pissed at you. They're gonna do what?
And again, some friend is a companion at the table, and will not continue in the day of thy affliction.
So you see that? Y'all cool when y'all at the table. Y'all might be making bread together. That power couple. Y'all might be doing all type of stuff to build up yourselves.
Right.
Y'all might be dealing with each other for years. But let something bad happen. Now all of a sudden, he ain't rocking with you no more.
Right.
She ain't there for you no more. Let you lose your job. Where she going? Bye-bye. She gone. She for the next man. Huh. This is what the Bible is telling us. This is the importance of proving. And what does this lead to? What are you proving for? You're proving to get married. To get married. To find your wife. For you to find your husband. So, on that note, because you talked about what happens when you don't prove. I want you to go to Deuteronomy 28, real quick, 61. Let's touch on that. There's repercussions. There's many repercussions in our family, in our households, and in our communities, our nation of people, that happens because we decide not to get married. And some of us, when we did get married, we went about it the wrong way. That's the whole reason why we even have a Medea franchise and all that, because that thing happens. It's real, right? All right. So, read that, verse 61.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed.
So one way God punishes us for deciding not to prove them, not to get married and sleep around with multiple women, or even for the women, sleeping with multiple men, is that he puts sickness on us, the kind that's not written in the Bible. He talked about it, also talked about it earlier, things like STDs, STIs, those are very common in our communities. What else could he do to us to punish us for not getting married and sleeping around? What else could happen? What you think? What happens if you have sex with a lady and you don't marry her? Maybe it's a one-night stand. What could happen? What do you think could happen? Let me ask you something, bro, real quick, because I want y'all to really think about my question. What could happen for sleeping around? I'm going to give you a big hint. There's going to be another spawn. You got an offspring. Let me ask you something, bro. What could happen if you have a one-night stand? What are the potential risks of that? You don't know? You know what I'm talking about? You don't know what the risk is of having sex with a random woman you don't know?
Did that rubber slip off? Come on.
What can happen? What happens if that rubber come off? Okay, all right. So you could get an STD. Let's keep it 100. You could get sick. Gonorrhea, AIDS, syphilis, HIV, all that stuff. It could come there, right? However, let's get another one. What could happen? You could end up with a single-parent household. Before you go, I want one more thing. I want you to go ahead, stay in Deuteronomy 28. I want you to go ahead and get verse 16 real quick. Some people don't understand this. This is a big part of marriage, why we should do this. Matter of fact, read that.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 16. Curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field.
God says one of the reasons for breaking commandments like fornication, we became cursed in our cities. That's why even here, we live in Overtown, right? And what's happening in Overtown? We got a lot of single-parent households. We got a lot of people that don't grow up with both parents. And what does that lead into? It leads us into, for one, the dudes become feminine. The women, they become masculine because now they got to pick up for the other half that they never had growing up. So the guys end up getting in gangs. They get into the streets because they don't have a real father figure. They end up in places like this. And then the girls, they don't got that father figure. So guess what? No one providing that discipline and say, hey, this is what you got to do. I know your mama saying this is how you act like a lady, but in my household, this is how you're going to act like if you want to become a wife. This is the things you got to do, not just schooling. So what ends up happening to them? A lot of them, they get knocked up. They end up having kids. You ain't got no father in the community. God said this is a repercussion. It's a punishment for breaking his commandments. So what should y'all do? Because everybody look like they're over 20. Y'all look like y'all grown. What should be the goal? You say you 20? Okay, so what should be the goal? Should it be to have a boyfriend, a sneaky link? What should be the goal?
Sirach 37 and 12.
Sirach 37 and 12. Yeah, we don't get it. Sirach 37 and 12. Good question. How do you find a godly man? What you want to know too? How do you find one? The type of man, ideally, that's a godly man. Okay. What you want to know how to find a godly woman? Someone that ain't just there for your bread, for your height? Okay, cool. Read.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 12. But be continually with the godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
Whom thou knowest to do what?
Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
So what would a godly man be doing? Keeping the commandments. So, think about that. To identify a godly man, you have to know the commandments. How else would you know if he's keeping them?